What's up guys, it's your boy August BTC back again with another video. Today we're going to continue and just basically talk about Bitcoin and the portfolio update. For those that are new, the goal of this channel is to try and get to $10,000 by simply trading crypto options. I want to be full transparent and basically show you how I trade crypto options to try and help me and get you $10,000 basically step by step. So everything that I'm doing here, guys, is real trades, and this is not financial advice. This is simply for educational purposes, and I'm just documenting my journey live. So for the price action of Bitcoin is sitting at 63,800, pretty flat on the day, getting close to getting to 1%. So we'll see what happens. Again, really flat. Same thing with Ethereum, trying to push to $1,900. Again, pretty flat, trying to push to 1%. So one thing that I want to highlight is the S&P 500, which is basically the top 500 companies in the US basically. It just hit an all-time high. It went to $7,800, as you can see here, guys. S&P 500 just hit 7,800 for the first time in history. So the market is pretty bullish. Everything is pretty bullish overall, but Bitcoin and Ethereum is still lagging. So I can definitely say that the S&P 500 is in a bull market, because if you look, this is a 200-day moving average, and we've spoken about this, and we've said that if the price action of whatever asset you're trading is above the 200-day moving average, just like the S&P 500 here, that basically means you're in a bull market. So things are looking good for people that are in the stock market. That's why I always say, guys, it's very important to invest in assets that only goes up to the right. Look at the stock market, guys. For years on and years on, it's just going up to the right. Why wouldn't you invest in assets like this? So definitely invest in the stock market. It's great. It's great in sort of holding cash in your bank. But I believe that Bitcoin will have a better return on investment, because currently Bitcoin is in a bear market. As you can see, we are below the 200-day moving average. And yeah, guys, there's massive returns to be made, because if Bitcoin goes back to its all-time high, that will be, let's see the percent gain. If Bitcoin goes back up here, that's a 100% return on investment, guys. You know how crazy it is to have a 100% return on your investment if you start investing here. That's why money is made in bear markets, guys, as I've always said. So that's basically what's happening here right now. And yeah, so why is the market bullish? Why is the market pumping? As you can see, oil is down, which is really good. Oil is basically a metric that people look at, because if oil is high, then inflation rises as well. But oil is going down. It's down 2% on the day, so that's pretty good. We like to see that. We're just hoping that the war between Iran and the USA ends as well, so we're really hoping that happens. So let's see here. Why is the market bullish? Why is the market pumping, especially the S&P 500, the stock market? That's basically because we received some economic data, guys. We received PPI. CPI was yesterday, and then we received PPI today. So the July PPI inflation falls to 4.7, which is below expectation. So it fell to 4.7 instead of 4.9. And the core PPI inflation fell to 4.2 in line with expectations. So that's why the market reacted positively, because now this basically means that the chances of the Federal Reserve, increasing rates or hiking rates basically is lower and decreases, and you can see it from here. So traders no longer fully priced in a Fed rate hike this year, because if the Federal Reserve increases interest rates, it's really bad for risk assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the stock market in general. So the stock market likes it when interest rates are lower. That basically helps pump the stock market and Bitcoin in general. So basically this is good. That PPI came in lower, and CPI yesterday as well. So now prediction markets see a 70% chance that the Federal Reserve hold the rates, meaning that they do not cut or they do not hike rates in September. So the next decision will be in September. So for those who don't understand what that would mean, PPI is basically producer price index, right? It's the price of goods before they hit the store shelves, the wholesale's version of inflation. So the latest reading came in lower than expected, meaning inflation is cooling down, which is good. So why is it good for the economy? It means less pressure on the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates. So which means cheaper borrowing, which means more spending and investing in risk assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the stock market. So this is bullish for Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin has the highest return on investment in my opinion, and it's been proven, in history. So it just basically means easier money, lower rates, means more liquidity will flow into risk assets, like I mentioned, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also the stock market. So why is this good, guys? Why am I talking about things like that? When I invest or when I trade, right, to be a profitable trader, you always need to look at the macro, because these things affect the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the stock market and risk assets, right? So trading is not just looking at the charts and predicting, oh, this is going up, so that means it's going to go down, right? The charts is basically a thing of the past, right? It's just basically look at you cannot really know where the next candle is going to go exactly, but the thing that can help you, see a good direction is to have a broader look at the market, because macro is what really affects the market. Okay, because if tomorrow the Federal Reserve decides to, maybe there's a press release saying that the Federal Reserve is going to increase interest rates, this I already know is going to bring the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, the stock market down, right? So with that already in mind, you know that, okay, you need to, adjust your place if you're trading, right? But if maybe a press release comes out saying that, the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates, then you know how to position yourself. That's why it's very important to always look at the macro to be a profitable professional trader. It's very, very important. And I always look at the macro. So with that being said, let's look at a portfolio. Let's see what is going here. I've made a few additions to the portfolio that I want to talk about. But let's quickly have a run around. First things first, because we're using portfolio modeling, I always like to look at the oxygen of the account. Okay, so we're below 50% on the maintenance margin, which is really good. Again, anything above 50% and going to 100%, your account gets liquidated. So you don't want that. So keeping it below 50% is a real good, a real good metric to look at. Okay, so currently we are up about 9% on the total positions. Let me collapse this for now, on about 9%. So we're floating, currently close to $300. We are getting paid each and every day through Theta, $11 each and every day, which is fantastic. This is a new metric that I've added, net delta, and I'm going to explain what that means. Vega is good, gamma is okay. Not really major important metrics to look at for now. We have 42 days till expiry for these options that I have to expire. The net premium that we collected, I've added a position. I've added Ethereum, and we've collected an additional $44. I'll show you guys now. If I go to the history, you will see here, guys, I added, opened up another short call position in Ethereum, and I received about $48 into the account. That's why, we up here now. So now we've captured about 13%, so we're up $70. So now we stand to make 8,700 Rand in the next 42 days, and we're currently up 1,100 Rand on this particular metric, which is good. So we are net option sellers. So when we sell options, we get paid, we receive premium into the account, which is beautiful. And then we're currently up here 1,000 here. And we're currently collecting about 188 Rand a day. The floating P&L right now is about close to 5,000 Rand, so not too shabby. All of this is helping us get to the goal, which is, $10,000 by the end of the year, hopefully, which is basically 164,000 Rand. So let's see how that goes. So the metric that I've added here, guys, very important, is net delta. Okay, so what net delta does is it tells me how much my portfolio moves when the market moves, right? Currently, you see these are the two assets that I'm trading, and Bitcoin is down. It's pretty flat. Same thing with Ethereum, is pretty flat. minus 0.22, minus 0.08, so pretty flat. So, but when Bitcoin and Ethereum goes up, right, by a certain percentage, basically I make money based off of this. Okay, so basically the way that it would work, just to give you guys a very simple example, if Bitcoin and Ethereum goes up 1%, so if this thing is 1% in the green and this is also 1% in the green, I'm basically making so 1% of this, I'm basically making 1% of this total amount. So 1% of this total amount will be $31. Okay, and then 10%, if Bitcoin goes up 10% and Ethereum goes up 10%, or the total account basically goes up 10%, then I'll be making 10% of this amount here, which would be $315, right? So this basically measures, it tells me how much I gain when my portfolio moves a certain percentage. Very, very simple. So it's a good metric to have in the portfolio as well that I've added. Okay, so let's look at the individual positions now. Like I said, Bitcoin is pretty flat. I have my long perpetual position. So what this does is it helps me participate in capital appreciation. So I've my entry price here is at 62,100. Bitcoin is at 63. So we're currently up about $200, which is not bad. So that's about 3,600 Rand. So the goal is to hold this position. I have 0.14. The goal is to hold this position until the next bull market. Right now we're in a bear market for Bitcoin. So the goal is to hold this position until we get to the next bull market. I will be taking profit along the way if we get to, I don't know, if we get to 100K, if we get to 70K, I will be taking some profits along the way. But the goal is to build a massive long position here. So the goal is to maybe end with 0.2 Bitcoin. If I can end with 0.2 Bitcoin before the next bull market comes, I'll be printing thousands and thousands of dollars. And this is going to help me get to $10,000 at the end of the day. Right, so we have that, and then we have this put credit spread for insurance, right, to just basically decrease the volatility of the portfolio and to cushion our downside. And then our money printer, if the market does nothing or if Bitcoin goes down, we have our short calls. We're currently receiving this total amount of money. So the net premium collected on this sleeve is about $440. So we're currently up 20%, 21%, 9%, and 21% here on these short calls. So we're not doing too bad. So Bitcoin just has to stay below 69, 68, 70, 72, and 74K in the next 42 days. And then I can bank all of this premium basically. Beautiful thing. So Ethereum, how are we looking at Ethereum? So Ethereum, I do have the put credit spread here as well, right? For again, insurance, to reduce the volatility of the portfolio. And I've had an additional short call on Ethereum. So I've collected $75, $48 here. We're currently, negative because I added these positions yesterday. So yeah, but so far we're still getting $1 each and every day for this position, and then $1 here for the second position. So the total premium collected here is $100, which is increased. So all of this gets added here, which is great. I bought a long call for Ethereum to help me participate in capital appreciation. So this is a long call. So I've paid $32. So if Ethereum goes up, this position prints. So the reason why I have this is because I don't have any Ethereum perpetual position like Bitcoin. So I'm waiting for a particular signal to hit before I can buy a long perpetual positions. I want to. So for that to happen, I think I need Ethereum to go a little bit lower. So I'm monitoring certain signals, right? I'm waiting for Ethereum. I'm looking at the RSI and things like that. Once that signal, gets hit, I'll get a message, and basically I can enter long Ethereum perp, and I can remove this position basically. So this is basically what the book is looking like, guys. Let's look at the total account equity of the portfolio. We're currently sitting at 3,270. I'm really hoping to get to $3,300 at the end of the week. I'm not too sure if that will happen, but fingers crossed. If I can get to 3,300, we were so close to getting there here last week. What was it now? The highest was 297, I think. Yeah, 3,297. So hopefully we can get there. The portfolio is pretty flat. Another metric that I want to show you guys. So currently we are at 52,700 Rand. So, decent. The goal is to get to 164,000 Rand by the end of the year. That is basically $10,000. So let's see if that will happen simply through options trading. Another metric that I want to show you guys is a Sharpe ratio. Sharpe ratio is very important because it measures the return per unit risk of the portfolio. Okay, so what that means. So it basically means, are my gains or is my profit coming from skill and control, or is it coming from wild lucky swings? Okay, because the Sharpe ratio measures how much risk the portfolio is taking to get you those returns. Okay, so institutions look at Sharpe ratios. Professional traders look at Sharpe ratio. That's why I've added Sharpe ratio into my portfolio. So a Sharpe ratio below 1 is weak, right? It basically means your portfolio is too bumpy for the profits or the rewards that you're getting. So a good Sharpe ratio is between 1 and 2, right? Which is solid. Anything above 2 is excellent. Okay, it's a very strong return on your investment. And it also basically shows you how smooth the ride is. Okay, so it's a number that proves that the account is being built with discipline, which I want, right, and not luck. Okay, so Sharpe ratio is very important because if I go to the past 3 months, right, as you can see, my account was really bumpy because I was trying different strategies and my Sharpe ratio was -2, which was really, really bad. So I want my Sharpe ratio to be on 2 and above. It's a very important metric. Okay. Now the past month we've been doing really well because this basically differentiates between someone that, the portfolio is super volatile to get to $10,000, meaning at any given moment he can get liquidated just like that. But for me, the volatility of my portfolio is really smooth, really, really smooth, and I still get to my goal, right? This is what institutions prefer, and I want to have that disciplined approach in the portfolio. So this is what we're looking at, guys. Let's see if we get to 3,300 by the end of the week, but this is a portfolio update, guys. If you guys want to join me, if you guys want to trade, I do have a link to the exchange that I'm using, which is Deribit. This is just a dashboard just to, make things cleaner. If you guys want to use Deribit, click the link down below in the description, guys, and you can join me. You can sign up if you guys want to use the exchange. But yeah, guys, this is the update. Feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.